Welcome back, nuclear news community. We're diving into what is going on in this space, the unfolding nuclear renaissance in slow motion, getting to stay on top of exactly what is going on, watching prices rise as expected. Sprott Uranium Miners ETF up 58.78% this year. The S&P 500 only up 19.56%. So uranium massively outperforming. Let's see what someone who's been right all along is saying now. Uranium still has plenty of upside potential after prices hit $80. So the price per pound of uranium hit $80. This is the CEO of Sprott. So he's been right all along, and now he's saying it's going to go higher than 80. Obviously, he's been extremely bullish. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust has been buying up physical uranium, taking it out of supply, right? And so why do these predictions make sense? Obviously, every single week, there's new updates to this story. So let's dive through what is going on for the supply and the demand of this space. Parliament extends list of key technologies for EU decarbonization, including nuclear. They're calling nuclear a green technology. It doesn't get bigger than that because now it's on the same footing as renewables, and we know how much money is flowing into renewables as long as governments can afford to spend this type of money. But this is another indicator of where the wall of capital is going to be flowing. Canada's 2023 fall economic statement today updates green bonds to now include funding for nuclear energy, new reactors, refurbishments, R&D. So the Canadian government going big into nuclear as well. The wall of capital. So we have the EU, we have Canada. In March 22, the government published a green bond framework and issued its inaugural $5 billion Canada Green Bond, which had an order book of over 11 billion. So we're talking billions and billions of dollars moving into this space. So that's a quick glance at the recent massive multi-billion, if not multi-hundred billion dollar developments in 1 week, right? Huge news per usual. Now let's take a look at what's going on the supply side. Rosatom, which is Russia's uranium miner, the main one, the uranium mining company, is always the last to provide its annual report. The one for 2022 is tremendously revealing. Transportation costs have skyrocketed by more than 7 times. This is unsustainable in the long term. So the cost to get uranium out of the ground, this was a great find by this Twitter user. Transport costs, so you can just see the difference, 2021 to 2022, 70, just massively exponential 700% increase from 2022 to 2021. We'll see what happens in 2023, but that's just going to have to put a floor on the price of uranium if it continues to be that expensive. So we're going to see what they say for 2023, but just a fascinating insight into the cost of getting this scarce fuel out of the ground. At the same time, Ukraine asks Canadian companies to invest in country as it seeks to rebuild from Russian invasion. So they're going over to Cameco, Western Uranium, not going after the Russian uranium. Tim Gitzel, CEO of Cameco, said Ukraine approached the company asking if it could take over the fuel supply that had been previously provided by Russia. They signed a deal in 2035 and supply nuclear fuel for 15 reactors in Ukraine. The Russian built all of them, and they used Russian fuel until now. They don't anymore. They're using Canadian fuel. So if you just go back to previous videos, you can see the massive supply-demand deficit we're in. And especially if you look at just the West, essentially Canada is the big provider. Well, Ukraine is taking some of that supply, which previously came from the East. So very interesting as Western uranium gets scarcer and scarcer. Now let's go around the world every single week. Huge developments on the demand side. Rocked by a scandal over clean energy, Portugal broaches a political taboo in a country that has long eschewed atomic power. Young physicists and their allies are hoping that fresh political upheaval will offer a chance to change minds. We know it will. We've seen this story play out all over the world. Every country doing 180 degrees. We see the EU pumping money into the space. So there's no reason why Portugal won't do the exact same thing that every other country has done at this point, just about, at least 99% of other countries. A new clean energy partnership between the UK and South Korea, together with 9 memorandum of understandings regarding cooperation in nuclear energy, have been signed during a state visit by Korean President and the UK. So global partnership on building out nuclear. This is the math behind what is going on in India, speaking to the demand for uranium and the growth of nuclear fuel. India, 20 new nuclear reactors by 2031, 10 under construction, installed capacity just starting. Plan is to have 50 plus. So just massive build out. This is why the demand curve is so steep long term. This is what's going on over in the Philippines. Meralco considers deploying micro nuclear reactors in 14 sites. We're still in the early stages. Again, if you look at the stories of SMR deployment plans globally, there are thousands of sites being launched globally for SMRs. France, preparatory construction of work on new generation of nuclear plants to begin mid-2024. Effage signs contract with EDF for civil engineering. Effage said the contract signed through subsidiary Effage Genie Civil has a value greater than 4 billion euros. This is the wall of capital streaming into this space. OPG subsidiary Laurentis Energy and Saskatchewan Utility have announced details of a master services agreement that will see them collaborate to advance the deployment of small modular reactors in Saskatchewan. And then do not count NuScale out. NuScale Power to collaborate with Oak Ridge National Laboratory for a techno-economic assessment. Why is this happening? Because the US government is supporting it. They're subsidizing SMR research, and NuScale is benefiting from it. With the support of the US Department of Energy, under the Gateway for Accelerated Innovation in Nuclear initiative, we are thrilled to collaborate with Oak Ridge National Lab to assess this exciting new decarbonization pathway that serves as a model for chemical plants. So we're still in the early stages. NuScale is early stage. The US government supporting it. And we're just going to have to stay on top of this unfolding renaissance.